This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Brueski.
Robin Dreeke is with us, retired FBI special agent and chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program. Robin, I want to ask you about some of the little nuggets that we've been hearing about with Kohberger over the last handful of days, some information coming out about a resume and a cover letter and the way in which it was written, the braggadociousness of it, which we all do to a certain extent in resumes and such, but really not accurate. There's flat out lies in some of this resume here. Everything from this is what makes it a little weird, is it involves cutting things. And anytime we're talking about Bryan Kohberger and cutting things, we're not usually thinking about fish, but that's what he talks about in the resume. Being an experienced public speaker, being a meat wrapper, and also a boxer as well, which I believe that's the part that is legit. That I believe is how he lost a lot of weight. Now that we know this, does any of this coincide or have anything to do or could be used or will be used in the prosecution of him being the alleged killer of the 4 college students in Idaho?
First, wow, I didn't see the resume and I was digging and I apologize for that.
Sure.
But
yeah.
Getting to the statement you just made, it just fits his pattern of, again, as I always got to say, I'm not a licensed clinician, so I can't assess psychopathy, but one thing psychopaths have is this intense need of grandiosity and this flamboyance about them and look at me and look how awesome I am. So it completely fits the pattern of doing that he wants to be the best at whatever he puts down. And again, that's why he always looks like a shocked student that handed in his term paper of look, I killed 4 people and he got caught.
Very much so. Some of the things that were on the resume included being a public speaker, which he really was not, a boxer, which they do say that's true. That's how we believe he lost 130 pounds years ago. But then some of the other things are fish cutting, which I guess never happened. He was working at a butcher type place. The butcher said he was there for 3 weeks and he didn't work out, but he put on his resume he was there for months. A meat wrapper, and he was trying to get a security guard job, which I believe he did get on and off. A lot of it having to do in creepy ways with using knives or being in a place of power in terms of security and things of that nature.
Yeah, and what we see here, like we see with everyone, and him even more so because of what we know he wound up doing, well, what he's suspected of having done, and that is we see the arc of life. We see interest in certain areas of his life that he spent in his youth, and that is, cutting things up, grandiosity, combat in some ways. So it's fitting his pattern, because when you start getting outliers from behavior, that's when you're like, well, what's that? Is that actually real, or is that outlier of behavior indicating that we have a secret life that no one knows about? And so for him, I think he has actually believe it or not, is pretty transparent with throughout his entire life with the issues he was dealing with, from the times of his earlier text messaging or postings he was doing online of not feeling anything and all these things he can put down on a resume. Now, granted, we're all putting things on resumes from time to time that we want to inflate ourselves to get the job. But you're right. The things he selected to put on that resume become very congruent with the patterns of behavior we start seeing in his life later on.
Are we going to continue to, obviously we're talking patterns of life and things of that nature. Just as this gets deeper and deeper and we learn more and more, some of it just seems kind of creepily, I don't know. You can look at it and go, well, that's creepily, it fits him in terms of, what he was into or what he liked to do. And then you match it to a crime. Are we just going to keep seeing more and more of these things, do you think, in terms of connecting other things in life that had nothing to do truly with the murders, but very much behaviorally do fit the pattern for who he is?
Yes, and at the same time, we're designed to do that. As human beings, we seek patterns where patterns may or may not exist because we're trying to make sense of the world around us at all times. And so right now, everyone dealing with Kohberger, with everything they look at, we all have a confirmation bias. We're looking for things to be connected to the end result that we suspect he did. And so we're going to only see those things. Now, so imagine yourself, again, let's do a thought experiment on this.
Yeah.
Remove the fact that this individual that has been described as OCD, sometimes violent at times, arrogant at times, but a really astute guy. If you take away the fact that he was caught and suspected of committing these murders, would any of these other things stand out? And
in some ways, yes. In some ways, no.
Right,
probably,
right.
But yeah, I mean, really not that much. You know, if he was
anyone else studying criminology like he was. See what I mean? So yes, they fit a pattern of what we eventually suspect he did, but at the same time, though, you know, we all need to make sure that we are very aware of our confirmation biases, that we're looking for these things to kind of fit. As I remember when the first evidence sheets and the return for what they seized in his parents' home, you know, they said, "Oh, there was knives there."
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
without a doubt,
there's knives.
A house will have knives in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, so these things, yes, they do fit a pattern to what we eventually suspected he has done, but are they outliers of people in society? Yeah, sometimes.
Sure.
Really depends. So, but they're great points to make, though, and great things to follow that. And so to the original portion of that question, will we see more? Yeah, I think so, because I think that they need to do, the prosecutor needs to do a really, really good job of painting the arc of this person's life, you know, for the jury.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Brueski.
Robin Dreeke, as always, thank you so much for providing your insight onto the program. Very, very helpful as always. Hey, if you like the podcast, you want access to ad-free episodes, we can do that for you. Sign up through Apple Podcasts right now. You'll have access to all of our True Crime Today family of podcasts, all ad-free when you sign up there. Do check that out. Even try it for 3 days free right now. I'm Tony Brueski. Stay with us.